This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, whichever location you are. I am Praveen Guttikonda, and I am the trainer on this particular course on SAP EWM. And today's session is about trying. Hello.
Hi Praveen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is Arun, is it?
Yes.
Arun, hi Arun. And we have
Hi.
Mohan as well in the call.
Hello Mohan, can you hear us? Hello.
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. You can see my screen. I've shared my screen.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what I will do, I'll keep it very crisp. I'll explain about what I'm gonna share as a part of this particular course, and how long will the duration be, and what will be the course content, and what will be my presentation style, what are the documents that I will be using for this, and which is a server that I will use. These are the points that I will try to cover. Before I move ahead and try to start to explain all these things, I will just introduce myself, what I am, where I come from, what is my experience. To start with, I am predominantly an SAP consultant all my career, 17 years now into SAP. I've started my career as a logistics consultant. Since then, I've been working on different modules in SAP, predominantly in the logistics areas of SAP or supply chain areas like SDMM, EHS, and then later on I did bits of CRM. But since last 4.5 years, I've been working on EWM. Prior to that, I had worked on a couple of WM projects. So that's where I've learned the next generation would be WM. I've done my certification and then moved on to EWM. I've done 3 projects. The first one was Dana way back in 2012. It is based in Hungary. That was my first EWM engagement. After that, I moved on to a very famous client in EWM world called Sigma Aldrich, now so called Merck Group. Was there for a longer period. Did 9.5 global template for them. That was based in France, Lyon. Currently, I also live in France, and the recent project is a pharmaceutical giant called Sanofi. So I've designed their global template for France as well as Spain. I mean, to start with the global template, but we deployed it for France and Spain at the moment. And teaching is my hobby. I enjoy it. It also helped me to keep up to date in the market. So that's about me. Currently, I am free for a month's time. So I was thought of taking another session for this particular tenure. It will be an extended one, not just for 1 month. So this is about me. I'll take a couple of minutes from each of you to see what you are, where you come from, what your backgrounds are, just to get an understanding of what you're looking for as well. So maybe I start with Arun or Mohan, whoever want to take the lead.
Yeah, Praveen, Arun. So actually, I come from SAP background, and recently I started working in SAP EWM. So want to know? Yes, I am. So
very good.
So I want some deeper knowledge in EWM. So that is why I am optimistic about this course to learn more.
Yeah.
This is Mohan.
Hi, Mohan.
Yeah. From past 5 years, I'm working as a SAP consultant.
Okay.
So I shifted my career from IT-based company to a product-based company. So I'm into the in-house development SAP team. So here I'm working as a consultant only. Here we are going to implement EWM. So there is a separate SAP partner is there. So I just want to learn before that this EWM.
Very good, very good. Nice to know both of you, and I'm very, very happy to see that you're already into EWM or trying to get into EWM space. Okay, that is very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, just another question to both of you. Actually, are you based in India or somewhere in US, Europe? Just to get my timelines, you know.
I'm into Dubai.
Are you
I
in
am in
Dubai?
India. I am in India.
So if I get names against the places, I'll tell you. Arun is in Dubai and Mohan is in India.
No. Arun is in
The other way
India.
around. Acha, the other way around. Okay, okay, fine. Mohan is in Dubai and Arun is.
Yeah.
Okay, just to get the times, you know, time zones and what times you can have the sessions. Okay, that's about it. Okay, let me start it. Okay, what I put here is the topics that I will cover, and as we go, I'll update the status, and I'll put a date against it, and we will record the sessions. So I will put you the date and the recording sessions against it. Now I'll share these recordings in via the Google Mail, so you'll have it in your repository. Now, what I will also do is, as a part of this course, is I will try to prepare a documentation. I'll give you each topic by topic some document, talk about what is that particular submodule and what is the configuration settings, what are the master data, and so on. Example I have is replenishment. I put in some config steps, how to go about it, master data, and so on. This is one example, but I have better examples. We are quite detailed. Wave management. Okay. Also have something called a work center. So we have wave management. You don't have to know about individually at this point in time, but what I'm trying to make a point is how am I going to, what is my approach towards each of these submodules and how I will deal with each of these submodules and how I plan to explain you with examples and presentations and so on. Now, what apart from these submodules, what I will also be sharing with you is my experience in projects. Very specifically, I will give you some scenarios which I've done specifically in my implementation projects, which I've covered as a part of my functional specifications or a design document. I will share few of my, not few, whenever a topic comes suddenly that will come up in my mind in that particular project. This is what I've done. So I will definitely be sharing such kind of ideas. I come from a WM background. I will also give you the differences between WM and EWM. Okay. And I currently have a server which is an 1809 S4 Hana server. So this is embedded. Okay. So I will show you everything is in this particular box, single environment. I currently train on this. So, but I mean, to be honest, in SAP world, we will, the hard reality is we will be putting up some experience. That is the truth. I don't shy to say that. Okay, this is now logged off. I'll log in again, no problem. So why I'm saying this at this point in time is, if you need an experience or if you want to get experience on how it works on the previous versions, which is a decentralized 9.5 or 9.3, we can, or I do not know, I will have to check with SAP WITS, but yeah. So that will give you the comparison between how EWM works on an embedded system as well as how EWM works on a 9.5 server. That I can do because I have the experience of working in both the environments, okay, 9.5 as well as 1809 embedded at a support stack level of 001. Okay, that's about it in terms of the servers and the explanation. Now I'll go topic and what I will be covering. The first is introduction. This will be covered in 2 days. Basics of EWM is what is EWM, why EWM, why not WM, what the customer should do, why customers should go for EWM rather than WM. Okay, and then what are the documents in EWM? That means document types. SAP predominantly works on header data, item data, and so on and so forth. The document structures, as a typical EWM also will be the same case. If we have to explain you in MM, you have purchase order, header data, item data, blah blah blah. So like that in EWM also you have document types, header document, item document, and so on and so forth. We will go in detail. Then comes the integration aspect, how integration works between the ERP system and EWM system. Now, why I say ERP is today the ERP system being S4 HANA. That means S4 HANA being the backend system, and EWM being the so-called extended warehouse management system. How this works in how the data transfer happens between these two systems, and what is that we have to do as a functional consultant to make this work end to end. As a part of this particular course, an integration aspect, what I forgot to put in here is QRFCs. We'll use QRFCs to get this data moving. We'll also use something called as SMQ1s, SMQ2s. These are error handling transaction codes where you can see your data with some issues and to rectify it, and then we can further process it. Now you have SIF, but SIF is only used in decentralized system. We don't use SIF in S4 HANA. We'll discuss about it to show the difference, how it works. I'm just making a note because I haven't forgot to put it in here. So while I'm talking, I could realize that I need to put this here. So that is about integration, setting up your document integration, your document mapping, how it maps your item category mapping to your item types, and so on and so forth. That's about it. Now, then we'll come to EWM setup. That means how to create a warehouse in EWM, how to map that with your warehouse in ERP or S4 HANA system. What are the master data or elements in EWM? What is an activity area? What is a storage bin? What is a supply chain unit? How the master data transfer happens from ERP to EWM if you create master data in the backend system. Again, I'll show you the difference, how it will work in S4 HANA as well as in ERP system. Okay, then we have something very interesting topic called packaging specification. Quite interesting. What is a work center? What is a WPT? Now here somewhere I should have included handling unit management. Let me check. And okay, I have handling unit management. I'll bring this on top because when I cover packaging specification, that's where it becomes important. I'll keep it here. So then comes our inbound process, that is the typical purchase cycle. So what is that we need to do in terms of replicating the purchase order or inbound delivery to EWM? How do I put away my stock into a final bin? Before doing my final bin, how EWM treats these materials? What are the different statuses of the particular product when it is coming or when we receive something from the vendor? Where do we take the GR? At the IM level, we just take a GR, which is at a storage location level. But at a storage, when the product is warehouse managed, we have further more complex cases where we want to take a goods receipt, but we want to do something called as recent deconsolidation or repacking. Once the consolidation is done, then we do a final put away. In this process, if the stocks are lying in different places, how do we track it? If the stocks are lying in a HU, how do we track it? And the stock is lying on different resources, how do we track it? All these things we'll discuss. Quite interesting topic is availability group and inventory management, row number 27. This is something to do with your stock levels, how the stocks are reflected in IM level, your inventory management level, and how these particular stocks are represented in EWM at a bin level. Now, when I say that, we do something called as storage location mapping. It is quite a complex case. I will explain you quite in detail with examples, and this could be one of your interview questions where people will try to gauge you if you understand the real crux of what is warehouse managed storage locations and what is IM locations. And then I will also show you in real time at every stage of the inbound process how is a stock reflected in in your IM level, that is MMBE stock or MB51, when you will run a scenario when the material movement is posted, at what stage the material movement is posted, how this is posted, why it is posted, what are the trigger points for that material movements to get triggered in ERP, or what is the moment that happens in warehouse level which will trigger this particular material document in ERP. So at that level I will go, because I really enjoy it. I will show you at every step what actually the system is doing, which function module it is calling, and if the function module is not being called, what is the error message, how it retrieve, how do we resolve these messages. So all these things I've learned as a part of my project, so I will be sharing with you this information. Gentlemen, if you don't mind, I'll just quickly pick up a call and then come back. Just 1 second. It'll not take long. Hi, Ewms.
Sure.
Hi, Ewms. I'll come back to you. Just give me 1 hour time. Cheers. Bye. Hello. Okay. Thanks for waiting. That is on the availability group and inventory management. And then we'll talk, as a part of this, we'll talk something called as stock types. And so on. So then comes our typical hierarchy of warehouse management, which is you have a warehouse number, then underneath the warehouse number you have storage types, storage sections, bin determination, and the number of put away strategies that we use in warehouse management solution of SAP. We'll discuss about put away strategies, pallet storage configuration, fixed storage bin management with capacity checks, packing in inbound. This is a quite detailed we will go. As a part of packing in inbound, I will show you examples of packing in ERP system, and then move the HU to EWM automatically, and then we can also see once the HU is received in the how we can deconsolidate it, and then we'll also see how to repack, and we'll also see how to do multi-level packing. Okay, multi-level packing and so on. So quite detailed we'll go. And we also have used automatic packing here in inbound using PPF actions. So we'll also discuss about PPF actions with examples. Okay, so we'll also discuss put away process with value-added services, quality engine. That means when I receive some stock from the vendor, I may have to do some quality checks or counting checks. In this case, how do I do that? Exam, I told you about deconsolidation. This is on the inbound process side. Outbound, we have very interesting topics. Outbound storage type, again stock removal strategy like LIFO, FIFO. Examples are these. And then we'll talk about wave picking. That means how do I pick certain bunch of warehouse requests and create some tasks, okay, with some logic. So why do we create such kind of with such kind of process in place? That means how do I bunch these documents? Why do I have to club these documents? What is the business case to do that? Now the business case can be anything. The way we club these documents are sometimes time bound, depending upon the GI date or goods issue date or the customer requested delivery date or planned GI or unplanned GI. Sometimes you have to bypass these wave picks. I'll give you quite good examples of what I have learned from the projects. Then comes different types of picking, pick denial. Sometimes we deny the picking. We don't want to do the picking for a number of reasons. So as a part of it, I think I haven't written down here. Let me check exception handling. Exception handling. I'll write down here somewhere. So I will cover exception handling. Exception handling. Okay. Now we'll also talk about something. What is exceptional handling is, sometimes we post some differences while picking, or we change the bins where we are picking. The user does this. Now for audit purpose, we want to track what if the user has done some changes at a bin level. We want to track it as a part of audit to track and see why it was done. So these are all the reasons that we predefine in EWM, and we will ask the user to populate the reason codes as a part of exceptional handling to see what was the reason, or to track from a monetary perspective what was the reason to do that. Okay. We'll also talk about unplanned goods issue on audio. Suddenly we pick some stock and we do unplanned goods issue for a number of reasons. We'll talk about it. I will also talk about route determination in EWM. Typically route determination comes on the SD outbound side. But in EWM we do route determination. That means we based on certain criteria, we club the deliveries based on the route and so on and so forth. We'll discuss about it, how the route gets determined. I will also talk about batch management. I'm not sure if I have put in batch management here. Okay, yeah, it is covered. Okay, so I'll go on top. So I have covered inbound, outbound. Then we'll talk about internal process. That means if the stock is moving within the warehouse, for a number of reasons we move the stock within the warehouse. What are the reasons? How do we track the reasons? How do we configure the system in a way that different movements within internally which are getting moved? How can we show in the system what this movement is? Within the warehouse, or sometimes within the warehouse but into different storage types, or within the storage type into different bins, so on and so forth. Okay, then we'll talk about replenishment. Replenishment is nothing but refill. Very simple. I have a less stock in a bin, I want to refill it, but there can be number of ways to refill it. There are a number of situations that we can talk about replenishment. Now few of them are we have planned replenishment. And we'll also have order related replenishment. And then we have create part replenishment. We have fixed bin replenishment. Okay, we'll see all these examples as a part of replenishment. Now,
excuse me, I have one question here.
Yes, mate, go on.
All this replenishment, how it will happen? Any MRP will run here in this EWM concept? I mean,
in EWM, what we do is
MRP.
No, I'll tell you. First, we'll talk about planned replenishment. Now, these planned replenishment are based on different criteria. That means I have some quantities that I will maintain as a minimum order quantity. That means a minimum bin replenishment quantity. Now, this is nothing to do with material requirement planning. Assume the fact that you have a bin. There is for all good reasons we say that there is a minimum order or minimum bin quantity that once the system has those minimum bin quantities, we should run replenishment. Okay, the planned replenishment, how it will work is, now I can't go as a warehouse worker, I can't go to each and every bin and check what is this quantity, should I replenish or not, and so on. I will just run a background job. What the job will do is, it will go and check this particular bin quantities, all those bin quantities at a storage type level. That means I have a storage type. In this, I have 100 bins. It will go and check all the 100 bins. Okay, it will check all the 100 bins and see what is the. In fact, it will compare the bin quantity, the book stock,
the bin quantity which is a book stock with that of some bin quantity that we maintain as a part of master data. We maintain some master data in EWM. So it will compare this minimum order quantity or minimum replenishment quantity in the master data with that of actual book stock. Okay. Once it has come down the minimum replenishment quantity, it will automatically replenish, saying that it will trigger the replenishment stock. Now once this particular thing is done, the MRP controller can manage whether to replenish it or not. This is a business decision, but we at a warehouse level want to trigger these replenishments and create open warehouse tasks, and the management will take a decision whether to really replenish or to skip this particular replenishment. The reason is you sometimes do replenishment, but in some months, which is an off season, you don't do replenishment. Okay. Now there could be number of reasons we don't manage it at MRP level. The reason is irrespective of the MRP run, every week the warehouse manager want to know my bin status, because some warehouses are running 24/7. The MRP controller might be doing MRP run at a plant level, yeah, but this plant could have number of warehouses. Okay, now even at the MRP level, you don't see that bin level quantities. So these bin level quantities is at a warehouse level. So these replenishments are triggered based on the minimum replenishment quantities which are maintained as a part of material master records. In warehouse also we have product master. In this product master we have warehouse views. In these warehouse views we'll maintain something called as a minimum replenishment quantity. Now whenever these planning run runs at a warehouse level, it will compare the stock in the book. That means the book quantity is nothing but your stocks in SAP, and then it will match with that of your EWM warehouse product master quantities. If it is less, it will automatically trigger the replenishment.
Okay.
That's one example. That's an example, but I'll give you quite in detail. The next one, what you're seeing here is order related replenishment. Now, what is this order related replenishment? I'll give a classic scenario which I have used for one of my customer. Now, normally in ERP system, when you do a availability check, that means that is typically on the outbound side. You have a customer order coming, you have created a sales order. Now system tries to find is there a material availability for the given requested delivery date, depending on number of criteria. But in business, sometimes what happens is there is no stock in my warehouse. I know for the fact that there is no stock, but I will not reject that particular order. I know for certain products I can replenish within the given time. That means I know for the fact you take the order, but I will replenish. That means I will suffice the requirement, customer order. I will make sure that we will suffice or we will satisfy the customer demand. That is the business call. Now, if it is so, what we will do is we have something called as order related replenishment. We will trigger a bin which is actually empty. System will automatically pick a bin which is called a rough bin determination. I'll write down here so that I don't forget. A rough bin determination. Now, as a part of rough bin determination, there is no stock in the bin, okay, or for that matter in that storage type, but system will automatically pick that storage type. Now it will also promise the date what the customer has asked for. When this happens, immediately based on this logic of order related replenishment, system will automatically trigger an internal movement called replenishment at a for that particular quantity which is required for to suffice that particular order. Now what happens is why do we need such kind of scenario? What happens is you have your warehouses sometimes in a places where they are really busy, but you also have a backyard or you also have massive warehouses which are not DCs. When I say DC is a distribution center which is close by to a high street or close by to a very popular city like New York, or for that matter London or Paris. What we do is the customer order comes and they look for the order and the DC quantities. That means at the distribution center whether the quantities are there. But what we say is whether the stock is there in the distribution center or not, forget about it. Just take the order and say that distribution center will deliver it. Now the stock is not there at the distribution center. Immediately when the order comes, based on that particular order, an internal replenishment task will get created, which will replenish this particular DC, that particular bin, from another storage type which has sufficient quantities. Why does business want to do this? To manage their space efficiently. One of the classic example that I had is we have implemented this for a pharmaceutical company. They had a warehouse close to Paris, which only deals with exports cases. That means whatever the pallet comes in, it is only going out as for another country. Now, because they are close to Paris, the square foot rent that they pay for that particular warehouse is really high. So they have to manage their space efficiently. So what they do is, even though there is no stock in their staging area or in a storage type, they just take the order and they have another warehouse, which is a massive warehouse about 100 miles away from this particular export warehouse close to Paris. They replenish in the same day. That means order comes, I will straight away replenish from the same day, and the customer order will be served from the DC. So this is a case where we have implemented replenishment, which is order related replenishment. Now that we will go in detail. Crate part replenishment is used in production planning. So that means you issue your stock goods issue to production supply area. That is a classic case. Again, it is a replenishment based on the stock levels at the PSA are down, and then we start replenishing it. A fixed bin replenishment is a replenishment what we have, which we do at a particular bin level. That means, again, I can take an example. You have a very busy workshop or a busy outlet where we display the stock in minimum pieces. That means you keep display of stock of 4 or 5 quantity. Now every now and then these quantities are picked by the customer. So when the minimum quantity is less than minimum quantity, you straight away replenish that particular bin. That means somebody from the backyard or from the some other storage type will pick the stock and replenish this particular bin. When I say fixed bin, that means the product is always kept in that particular bin and GI'd from that bin only. When I say GI, goods issue. Okay, we talk about bin posting change and stock transfer. Now posting changes is one topic we will discuss quite in detail, and stock transfer within a particular warehouse. And posting change, when I talk about it, we change the status of the stock. That is nothing but sometimes you have unrestricted stock converted to damaged stock within the same bin. The reason why we do it is because we have done a inventory count. We see that this particular stock is no more a good stock or an F2 stock, unrestricted stock. So we want the user to change the status of that particular bin stock as damaged or partly damaged or fully damaged, or sometimes scrap it. We'll talk about it in detail as a part of posting change. Ad hoc moves, that means we can use internal movement which are ad hoc, they are not planned. We'll talk about in detail. Now, one of the most important topics, and to me it is quite interesting topic, and at the same time a little bit complex topic, is warehouse order creation rule. We'll discuss this in detail. It comes both inbound as well as outbound. As well as outbound. Okay, then we'll talk about storage control. This is the crux of EWM. I have used both POSC and LOSC in one of my implementation projects. I'll tell you that example as well. I've used this case in outbound. So what is POSC? Process oriented storage control. Process oriented storage control is used to have a complex put away process or a complex picking process. That means I want the user to adhere to a steps or process that I have defined for a particular product. I repeat, I want the user to adhere to a particular process for a given product, because the product is expensive product and product is vulnerable. So what we do is we create some process in place. That means we create a step-by-step procedure, and the system will not let the user to bypass these steps.
If he tries to bypass it, it will throw an error saying that you haven't not completed this step. I can't do the next step, and so on and so forth. That is process. We define a process. Now some products are very pretty much straightforward. You just pick it, put it away into a bin. There's even if there's no hard line, what do you call hard line or deadline or so-called any restrictions on the product. But when you have some products which are managed in a very streamlined way, use POSC. Now LOSC is nothing different to POSC. In a way, it is adhering to particular process, but this process is driven by the layout. That means I have received a product from a vendor. Now the product is on the TU. That means a vehicle which has come, or a lorry or a truck. Now the vehicle has come. I have taken the stock out of that particular truck and put it at the door. Now this is typical unloading of the stock from the TU. Once that is done, that means that is the first step which has to happen. Now business want to keep track of how many unloading a particular individual has done, how many unloading were done at this particular door, how many unloading were done at this particular door. So that is for audit purpose. Now once that is done, only after that you should take a goods receipt. And now when you are taking a goods receipt, doesn't mean the stock is now sitting in our final bin. No, it is sitting in a temporary place, which is a general generic goods receipt area, and we take a goods receipt there. Now that particular stock quantity should be reflected in a report. We have a standard report called monitor. In the monitor, you should be able to see which stock has arrived at the door now and which stock has moved to the goods receipt area. So these two steps should happen one after the other, no bypassing any of these steps. So this is physically as a part of the layout of that warehouse, we want to track it. So that is where we'll use LOSC. Now another classic example of LOSC is I have a what do you call a lift in my warehouse. That means I want to track, and I also want to make sure whenever the user is taking that particular stock, he only uses the lift and not the staircase, because there is a hazardous or occupational related stuff or dangerous way of carrying these will impact the what do you call the put away timelines or the human interventions and so on. So we want to make sure in the system the user is driven or user is provided with the work to do based on this layout structure only, one after the other. That's where we'll use LOSC. We will this particular two topics, and in fact most of the topics I am able to successfully run on the server on these typical demo servers, and I've been able to generate very good results. Okay, because these are public servers. Normally some of these might not work, but in the recent past the success rate has been really well. I was able to do number of scenarios and run end-to-end cases. So that's why what I'll show you as a part of this particular course is POSC, LOSC. Okay, then comes yard management. Again, yard management is extension of the warehouse. That means you have a yard, you have number of massive place outside of the warehouse. You manage your stock at yard level also. One of the typical examples that I had is one of the customer, which is Merck Group, Sigma Aldrich. They had a typical yard in one of their warehouses. We had done the yard management or yard layout mapping as a part of implementation project, and we implemented successfully yard management for Sigma. So then comes physical inventory. This is nothing but your even in MM also you have physical inventory as a topic, but you manage your physical inventory at a storage location level. But here we'll manage physical inventory at a bin level. That means compare your book stock with that of your bin physical bin capabilities. Here also there are different variations or variants of this particular topic. First is low stock check. Low stock check. That means in a bin I might have low stock minimum of some quantities, or you can have a zero stock check. STOCK stock check. Then you have something called as annual physical inventory. Then you can have ad hoc inventory, and you have put away inventory check. So these are the variants of this particular topic. I will cover all of these one by one. Okay. Now, typical EWM monitor is a one of only report which is available in EWM, but lovely tool. They have so many options available. The background which drives this are nothing but function modules. So that will cover. This will not be a specific topic. As we go, I will be every day using, from day one, probably I'll be using monitor. So it is a report, and I'll, by the end of the course, you'll be quite familiar with this report and what are the nodes in it, what are the options that we have, how to find your inventory status based on HU, how to find inventory status in a bin, how to find inventory documents which are how to find your HUs which are assigned to an outbound delivery, or they are staying in a GR area, or they are staying on a resource, and so on. Batch management, I will cover batch management both while receiving batch numbers from the vendor, or we create batch numbers in ERP, and then we also use these batch numbers to send it to internal movements or to external movements also. Now, task interleaving is a concept where if I have a worker working in a warehouse and he is doing a put away task, and he is doing a put away. That means when I say put away, means he's picked some stock from the goods receipt area. The vendor has sent some stock. He has picked the stock that he has to put it in a bin. Now again he's coming back to do the same work. Again he's coming back to pick another stock from the GR area and put it in another bin. But I do not want the guy to come empty hands. What I want to do with this particular guy is, once he has done a put away, that means he has picked the stock from the goods receipt area and he's putting away it into a final bin. He has done that job. Now I want to utilize the 8 hours that he spends in a day in an optimal way. What I will do is, I will give him a job which is about picking. That means if I've done a put away in a bin number 1, there is a picking task nearby to bin number 1, which is in the bin 2, bin 3. He will pick that stock and get it and put it in a goods issue area. Then he will pick another goods receipt stock and then do a put away. Like that, I will keep him busy for the entire tenure of that particular day. That is task interleaving. Now I will show you the functionality, how to achieve this task interleaving as a part of standard EWM configuration. What are the configuration setting required? What are the master data that are required. Now, for your information, if I have posted some examples of task interleaving, okay, you can check that in YouTube. You can just type in as SAP SCM and say task interleaving. So you can understand how, at what level I go to explain things. Just for your information, to keep track of what I do and how I explain things. Put that as on YouTube, and you should be able to see me explaining quite in detail. Okay, that is task interleaving. Then we'll go next one. So we will talk about RF. This is nothing but an interface or a mobile interface that the users will use in their warehouse. There are different names that we can give. These are mobile devices. We can, some people call them as RF guns. Some people will call them as what do you call them? In the machine, in the forklift also, you'll have some screens where you can keep track of all these entries. So that was also it's not a desktop device, but it is a tablet kind of a device where they have on the forklift, that they keep track of the stock that they're moving, and they confirm the stock on that particular forklift as well. So we'll talk about that in detail, how to do RF transactions. Then comes cross-docking. Cross-docking is a functionality where you have some stock you receive from the vendor straight away. You don't do a put away. but you repack it at the same work center, and then you try to do a goods issue, because the customer demand or the customer order is exactly the same as the one we receive from the vendor, with few assumptions. That means first come first serve or last come first serve, depending upon those assumptions, and the business is happy with those kind of assumptions, and they want to do they want to utilize the time of the worker instead of him doing this put away. Rather than doing this put away, we can just repack it and then send it the stock out to the customer. That is a typical example of cross-docking. We'll see that. So we'll also cover post-processing framework. Post-processing framework is a technical subject, but functionally SAP has provided one of the beautiful features using condition technique. If you are familiar with condition technique, I think you have this in schema determination you use for pricing. Yeah, in pricing you use condition technique. So we'll talk about material flow system, but this will be purely theory, because in this kind of servers we don't have some of the PLCs implemented or Telegram scripts implemented, so I can't run this end-to-end for material flow system. Okay, so that is what I have as a part of course. Now this will take you minimum of 2 months period. Okay, why I do not like to hurry it up is I can finish off everything in 1 week, but you will be not at pace. I have seen with number of students. When I don't like to call you students, I like to call you colleagues, because we are all experienced individuals. I'm just sharing my knowledge. So I would tend to keep it as typical 2 months period, depending upon how well you are coping up with the practice. I would sometimes cut down my pace, or sometimes increase my pace. That's how I typically handle this. So any questions so far in terms of the structure topics, or how I'm dealing with, what kind of documentation I give you? What I will also do is I have a dump of 9.4 EWM certification questions. I will provide you with that. If you are interested in taking your certification, you can do that. You should pass successfully. Few of my students have recently taken it.
Which version it is?
9.4.
And this training will be on which version? Is EWM 1809?
Okay. I can do 1809. Okay, I can also do 9.5. But I would say is, because we're doing this for 2 months, and I will talk to which server they are going to provide. But I have experience in configuring both the systems, decentralized as well as 1809. This one what I'm now showing is 1809 latest support pack. I'll show you. This might have gone.
We are expecting in 1809 actually.
That's fine, absolutely fine, no problem.
Okay.
See, the typical thing is I'm trying to give you more. I'll be very honest with you. What I want to show you is, I'm quite curious to show you. I've been doing this for a couple of batches from in the recent past. First 1 month, what we did is we did 9.5 decentralized, and then we did 1809. Then they could visualize, or they could feel what is the difference between an embedded EWM and a completely decentralized EWM with an backend ERP or a backend S4HANA. It depends on what you want. I have no issues with any of these versions.
But is there any major differences in configuration wise? Any difference is there? Just basic difference. Can you brief me?
Yeah, there are quite few differences. Okay, in S4HANA there is no concept called siphing. We create in 9.5 we create master data in ERP system or a typical source system, and then replicate that master data into EWM. This is called siphing, core interface. We don't have core interface in S4HANA. That is one major aspect. We do have inbound queues, outbound queues of the transaction data, error mapping, that we do have in both systems. And in S4HANA, there's no more XK01s and VD01s or XD01s. No customer master, no metal. No, sorry, we do have metal master. No customer master, no vendor master.
That is perspective. In EWM perspective, is there any difference between decentralized system and centralized system?
One is SIF. One is SIF.
SIF
and
means,
then
can you elaborate that word? SIF.
Yeah, core interface. CORE, core. I for interface. IF is interface.
Okay. Oh, CIF.
CIF. Yeah.
Okay.
Then now coming to EWM perspective from a decentralized system, we have few differences. You SIF some of your organizational objects as well, but in S/4HANA you don't SIF your organizational objects. In SIF you do your SIFing of product master, customer master, shipping point, plant as well. In S/4HANA nothing, no SIFing concept. Then comes transaction data. There is a technical difference. I will show you. What happens is you map your both systems RFCs in 9.5 decentralized system. That means one ERP system has one RFC, one logical system. The other one, which is the EWM system, supply chain management system, has one RFC and one business system. So we do map these logical systems to each other. But in S/4HANA, we do have this functionality, but there is a technical configuration setting that we do to create these RFCs, which are actually not existing, but we created for technical reasons. And also, while the transaction data is moving, because it's the same box, you create your purchase order, you create your inbound delivery, but again, you have to replicate that into EWM. But typical S/4HANA should be taking care of this. But the way SAP has designed it is a little bit different. I'll show you what's the difference. I'll show you that error which comes up, and then I'll configure the settings so that you'll understand if I don't do this, what will happen. We use something called as business object repositories, BORs. If you are aware what is a BOR, and we use something called as a QRFC function modules to map these QRFC function modules with a BAPI. Underneath you have a business object repository. Underneath you have a class and a method which will get triggered, which will be called. We'll go in quite detail if you understand the ABAP aspects of, or if you understand the technical aspects, it will be quite interesting because I enjoy my ABAP area of interest. What else is the difference? Currently, I am working on 1809. What I see as a difference is there are some technical configuration changes compared to 9.5 decentralized. I'll show you that.
Okay, and you know kitting concept, right?
What was that? SIFing, yeah.
Kitting.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot the topic. Kitting, yes. I'll add it.
Yeah, actually, kitting, slotting, and expected.
Slotting also. Slotting. I'll also add kitting somewhere. Okay. Yeah. Slotting and kitting.
If possible, this cartonization planning.
Yeah. Outbound it will come as a part of wave picking and book organization plan.
And will it be possible to cover serial management?
Serialization, yes. As covered batch, but I didn't cover serialization. Where is batch? I'll add it here. Okay. Serialization is pretty much very close to batch. There is a technical difference and also a business concept as well. So it is the difference. It is a global level managed numbers.
Yes.
You talk about it. Okay. Anything else that you want to know at this point in time? Actually, I'm done with what I was to say. So I wanted to show you the latest server that we have. We may use this one or a different one, but predominantly it will be an 1809. Again, it is lost. Okay. Actually, I have another server. Actually, sure. So what I have is this is 1809 EWM. This is for Hana core 1.3 release. Okay. Sorry, the product installation source I'll show you. As a part of 1809, EWM is part of the standard configuration. So you have external warehouse management, external warehouse management. But in the same box, again, you'll have warehouse management also. So this is as per Hana warehouse, this is extended warehouse management. There's a difference between both these. Yes, a client can have one warehouse which is logistic execution managed, one warehouse which is extended warehouse management. Okay. So that's about it. Anything else? Any questions?
Praveen, last one, like if you can include also production integration if possible.
Yeah, production integration I will include, but I have to tell you, I am currently working on doing up the end-to-end process. There are some issues on the production integration. That's why I was a bit reluctant to put it on paper. But I thought if I'm able to successfully do the end-to-end integration, I'll show you. But I'll put it here, assuming the fact that I will be able to run the cycle for you end-to-end. So PP production integration. I'm telling you everything upfront, okay?
Yeah, sure.
What happened is I have run the scenario. I got stuck with a technical issue, but as you know, these servers are not. I'll use the exact word, are not licensed. I cannot apply some OSS nodes. That's where I'm stuck. That's why I'm not able to show you the end-to-end cycle on the production integration aspect. Otherwise, I'll show you all the master data. Was able to trigger the what do you call the production request, outbound delivery for goods issue, and I have maintained the PMRs, but in the SMQ2 I am stuck with an error. That's where the status is. So I had to apply some OSS node, but I could not. So what I did is I opened the OSS node, I picked the code, I was trying to apply it manually, but because I don't have access keys, it doesn't allow me to apply that particular code. That is where I'm stuck, but I will try to resolve it, and if at all things go right, I should be able to show you in production integration as well.
Sure, sure,
Okay.
Praveen.
Anything else? If time permits, I do not want to promise, but if time permits, you can look at bodies. You can look at EWM is very, very, very. What do you call? If you are going on a project on EWM, you should be knowing about a body or so on, so forth, how to implement a body. I will try to see if I, because the thing is that we can go on like this, because the time period that I have is 2 months. But I will try to make you aware of what is a body, how I implement a body, where do I call for a body, how do I look for a body. Okay.
Sure.
Anything else? If not, okay, I'll put it here. ADI body explanation and how to find bodies. Okay, put this here. Okay, gentlemen. Anything else for me to know, or if you have any questions, feel free. SAP WITS are an organization. I have been working with them for some time closely. They are a very good organizers. I had never had any issues with them. So Swan, I've been really comfortable with them, and I've enjoyed my time training through them. Okay. Recently, they had given me a lovely customer who is on the project, who is working in Germany. I still support them. I still support the engagement, and they are implementing 1809 production integration. That's where I was not able to show them in these versions how the production integration happened. But we were successfully able to deploy the production integration concept in their live server. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Niharika, I'm done. I mean, any questions? Feel free to send emails to know more about what you want, what I can do for you. The way I look at it is training is my passion. I enjoy it. Sometimes you'll see me slogging on the system. It doesn't work. I'll play around with it. This will happen. Uh, but be prepared for such kind of extended sessions. The reason I'm telling you everything upfront is I'm a typical consultant, and you have been also a consultant in the past, or currently you're all doing EWM projects, or so you'll see that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes we mess up something as a consultant. So you will be seeing me doing all these things, playing with data, playing around with the configuration, playing around with the transaction data as well. Sometimes I get into debug to see if I can figure out what is the issue. So all these things will be part of this course. Yeah.
Sure, Praveen.
Okay. If no further questions, I'm done for the day. I have another call. I'll let Wits take over, and please let me know quickly because I have to plan because I have few things going on. I will be busy. No, sorry, I will be available for the entire month because I'm free. Next month I'm taking up a project. So at that time I'll tell you some timelines every day, 1 hour in the evening session, depending upon which country you're based. You're based in Dubai, so you're close to Indian timelines. I'm based in France currently. My time is 1:40 here. 1:40 means in Dubai, what is it? Something like 2.5 hours, no difference.
3:40.
On France. Sorry, what is the time?
3:40 p.m.
2 hour 3:40 is fine. I mean, 2 hours is fine. And you, Mohan, you're based in India. Arun,
No,
sorry.
Arun. Yes,
Yeah,
it's now 5. It's coming to be 5:10 here.
5. So this is 3.5 hours. That is okay. I think we should go for
Yeah,
India and
yeah. I'm flexible in timings in evening, actually.
Acha.
Also, whatever will be suitable. Like it's a matter of 2 months only, so I can manage with timings as
Yeah,
long as it's not in the working hours.
Yeah. No, I'm available this month, so I can be flexible as well.
Mhm.
But I will try to cover the basics really quick. The reason is because you come from an SAP background, you understand what is purchase order, what is sales order, how the document flow happens. So it should not take long on the integration aspect and the basics of EWM, but when it comes to complex topics like POSC, LOSC, slotting, replenishment, and that's where I will take some time. Okay.
Sure.
So I will discuss with Wits about times, then come back to you. But the server that we'll use is 1809, the latest one. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. If no further questions, I would love to take a leave. Thank you for your time today. It was a pleasure talking to both of you. Enjoy your evening. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.